you go on at one point to talk about distraction in social media and something that like I really work to struggle with. Whereas like if we're having a feeling of despair or misery or other things, it's easy for us to distract ourselves with social media. And I've spoken with other friends as well that maybe they're in a relationship that isn't going so great, but they just end up spending more time on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever. So a relationship that maybe should last 6 months ends up lasting 2 or 3 years. So I was hoping you could talk to a little bit about this kind of distraction society that we're living through.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of where I'm at now in terms of my thinking about mental health came from a place of trying to understand the incredibly destructive relationship that males have with internet pornography. And the cavalier attitude that most people in the general public and a lot of mental health people have about porn. I mean, you even hear sex counselors and marriage counselors talk about how porn might be something they could use as a part of understanding themselves, et cetera, et cetera. But that falls within the same domain. So when I started expanding my model to understanding mental health in general, one of the things that was really clear to me is how the internet, social media, is a distraction that actually plays on basic evolutionary needs that a person has. So there's 4 essential components of wellness that evolution created as we developed. The first is this need for social connectedness, like feeling like you are a member of a tribe, essentially, because that was hugely important for our survival. The other is intimacy in relationships and sexuality. That evolution is because of survival, but that means nothing if there isn't procreation. Obviously, you can be the absolute best person at surviving, hunting, and escaping predators and stuff, but if you don't pass that on genetically to the next generation, then it's done. So evolution is equal parts survival and procreation, and so that sexuality piece and relationship and intimacy piece too, and there's reasons for that I could get into, why intimacy becomes a factor there, but that's important. Learning and novelty and creativity and exploration, also hugely important from an evolutionary perspective. Like you couldn't have survived in the wilderness without having this natural inclination towards what's behind that hill, like finding a better cave, finding a new food source. Like that kind of exploration is super important. And related to that is being busy and active. That our ancestors, there's this urge to be doing something. Like in the book, I talk about affective forecasting. So there's this whole line of research in psychology that looks at how well can we guess how particular activities will change our mood. And we're terrible at it. So if you ask a person, like, what do you want to do this weekend? What would make you happy this weekend? The person, oftentimes people will say, I just want to lie around. It's been a busy week. I just want to sit on the couch. I just want to veg. I want to do nothing. That will not make you happy. In fact, that will agitate most people because after 5 minutes of relaxing on the couch, you're like, I should do something. Because you evolve to be a do something species. So I say there's those 4 things. There's the social, there's the intimacy and sexuality, there's the creativity, learning and exploration, and there's being busy. Unfortunately, the social media people and the internet in general gives us the impression of doing just that when we go online. It feels like it's social, like if we log into our Facebook account, it feels like we're being busy. It feels like we're learning stuff, like when you flip mindlessly through TikTok and there's an interesting recipe. Like it tricks us into thinking that we're being active, that we're being social, and it actually, it messes with us at a neurochemical level. And that's why we can escape into that world for, some people for hours and hours on end. But you come away from it feeling completely hollow. There's just no lasting experiences that are beneficial at all from that pursuit. If you went and had coffee with a friend for 20 minutes and you were super engaged in conversation with that person and it was, a really in the moment now type of experience, that is better than, 10 hours of surfing online because you leave from that with just this sense of quiet and calm. Plus your experience in the moment there is also so reinforcing that those are the kind of things we need to string together.
Right. Yeah, it is really interesting. I had numerous friends try to get me to download TikTok because they're like, you got to check it out. This algorithm is amazing. I'm like, I can just scroll for hours. I'm like, I am never touching this app ever,
Yeah.
ever, because of how great people tell me it is.